I do want to point out one very important logical distinction, which a lot of people seem to not get, but let's try it. Let's try this. Okay, so let's say create table. Let's call it TID. Okay, that will be a person. That will be you know what? Let's call it persons, and this will be persons underscore identifier. It will have a person ID, which would be an integer, identity 11, and it will have a first name, which is, you know what, let's do first name, which will be a varchar, I don't know, 10 will be enough for us, and a last name, which will be varchar 10 as well. Does this design make sense?
Yes.
Does this design make sense to everybody? As a persons table? Yes, no, maybe? You can unmute yourself. There's not a lot of us today. I think there are about 20, 22 people. So as long as you remember to unmute yourself afterwards, feel free. And if you can't, let us know. Okay. So that's a valid table design, right? Okay. So now I'm going to offer an alternative design. Hold on. In which there is no identity, and in which the primary key is first name and last name. Okay? And this will be person NK. Does this design make sense?
Might be better off have something more than just first name and last name.
Why?
Okay.
Because
so you think
you can always find a John Smith, multiple John Smith.
Right.
Excellent example. Thank you. So let's put John Smith in. And so we'll do insert into person's ID. Let's put values. And this will be John and Smith. And then we'll have another one for Jane Doe. And we'll have another John Smith, right? Okay, now let's do the same, sorry. This will be persons NK, and this will be John Smith, value John Smith. Okay, so let me create these two tables. Let me just switch to tempdb. Okay, so let's create these two tables. And now, if I insert into persons the one with the ID, no problem. We get 3 rows affected, right? Everything ran great. And now if I run this, I get an error which says violation of primary key constraint, cannot insert duplicate key and object, duplicate value is John Smith, right? So what you're saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that this design is better because it allowed me to put in 2 John Smiths, right? So I can have customers with the same first name and last name, and the only thing that identifies them is this thing that we call an ID, right? So here, what's the problem, right? We have one John Smith with an ID of 1, and one John Smith with the ID of 4, right? Everything's great, no problem. We can identify our customers, right? Or can we?
Which John Smith is which? You need more information, more real information about them. I mean,
You would need another identifier because otherwise you've got 2 duplicate rows just looking at the screen.
their phone number.
But wasn't that what you said? That if I have a person ID, I can put in more people, more than one person by the name of John Smith? Wasn't that the original reason that you said that we should use an ID here?
You would have more information about them.
Okay, so give me an example of more information.
Phone number, address, age.
Phone
Something
number, address, age. Okay.
You wouldn't use age because that could be the same as well. You want to use something that would be unique.
That would be unique. Okay, so what would be unique?
Phone number.
Phone number would be unique. Okay. So what you're saying here is that let's, for example, drop table person's ID and person's NK. Person's. Okay, let's drop these 2 tables. And now I'm going to add here phone. And that's going to be varchar 11, right? By the way, I forgot this is our primary key, right? And I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to say I'm going to add the phone here too. And here, I'm going to add it to the primary key. Okay? Now, let's go back here and say John Smith 1, 2, 3, 4. Jane Doe 5, 6, 7, 8. And here, let's take this, copy it here, take this, copy it here. And now what I'm going to do,
you put it on the wrong one.
I'm going to be a wise guy. Hold on. I'm going to try and put John Smith with the same phone number. Okay, so let's create these 2 tables. Did I drop these? Yes, I did. Let's create these 2, one with the ID and one without. And let's try to insert here. So here I insert, no problem, 3 rows affected. Here I try to insert, what do I get? Violation of primary key constraint, right? Which one is the more correct design?
Second one, NK.
Why?
Because you should not be able to insert 2 John Smiths with the same phone number.
Correct. The ID that you add and use as the primary key identifies a row in a table, but a row in a table represents something out in the real world. It could be a person, it could be a product, it could be, I don't know, an address, could be anything. But the database is always a model of reality. And so in order to be able to identify not the row in the table is just a tool. We don't care if it's rows or if we put it, I don't know, in another type of database. We want to be able to identify the person. And in order to identify the person, we need to know what the business out there in the real world uses to identify that person. And it could be that for one business, if it's a local grocery shop where its only shoppers are from 3 blocks away, maybe first name and last name is good enough. Maybe they don't have or don't care to have more than 2 customers with the same first name and last name. For Bank of America, this would probably be a less suitable key, right? But it depends on the business. And now if I go back to our animals